Good evening. One of Dunedin's oldest factories closed its doors today after 121 years. McLeod Brothers, pioneer New Zealand soap maker, has been swallowed up by the Colgate-Palmolive empire, and what's left of its manufacturing shifted to the North Island. Michael Lynch reports.
Laundrine soap powder was once synonymous with wash day. In the McLeod's factory, the soapy smell that mixed curiously with the next-door chocolate factory in central Dunedin. But laundrine hasn't been made for 10 years, and from today, McLeod's is no more either. The once proud local industry is another casualty of North Island buyouts that have seen control switch between Charlins, the Carter Holt giant, C.S. Stevens, and finally Colgate-Palmolive. And last year, Colgate-Palmolive, the great white hope for the company, decided to make 40 workers redundant. Staff picketed the plant more than a month before a satisfactory redundancy was worked out.
They had ideas that it might expand, but instead of that, after a short period of time, they were told that it was going to close in 6 weeks.
McLeod's has been working with only a skeleton staff ever since, and now the giant soap-making tanks will bubble no more. It was one of those surprising local industries, with a range of soap products that ran into the hundreds over the years. French soap, goat's milk soap, coal tar soap, they all came from this unassuming Dunedin factory, and no one's happy to see it go.
Well, I've never seen a good redundancy deal yet. What we want is people to be employed.
It's yet another chapter closed for Dunedin industry.
One of Dunedin's biggest supermarkets may be prosecuted for a breach of the city's health regulations. The Centre City New World sold sausages processed by a Dunedin butcher in conditions described by the city's health department as grossly unsanitary. They were taken off the market 2 months ago when the butcher's operation was closed down by the health department. Kathy Graham reports.
Nearly all the processed meat on sale at the Centre City New World is made locally, most of it by one firm. Up until a couple of months ago, the supermarket was selling an extra specialty line in sausages, also made locally, but by a different butcher. They were processed here at the Elgin Butchery after it was closed down by the health department because of the unsanitary conditions health officers found here.
The particular products that we have sold from this wholesaler are 2 specialty lines of sausages only, a Continental brand. All the trim, the pork and lamb is supplied by us each day to this wholesaler. He made up the product and returned to us daily.
But he did that in conditions that were described as grossly unsanitary, didn't he?
Well, we didn't know this at the time. As soon as it was brought to our notice by the health department, we stopped immediately, which was at the end of May. And at that stage, we had no reason at all to believe that he was an unregistered supplier.
The New World manager says with something like 100 suppliers, it's impossible to check on them all. But he says he's now asked them all to supply him with certificates of health. As for the butcher, who's working at the supermarket, he may also face prosecution.
High-flying Dunedin company Wilson Neal has almost doubled in size over the past year, and its assets now total more than $530 million. 500 of the company's 15,000 shareholders packed the annual meeting this evening to hear this. Wilson Neal, under local whiz-kid Colin Herbert, has spent a couple of $100 million this year buying out Skeggs Fisheries and the Cascade Brewery Group of Tasmania. There are now a half a dozen candidates who want to be Dunedin's new mayor. Elizabeth Hanan, presently an independent city councillor, is the latest to put herself forward for the top job. And she told Kim Hurring her advantages lie in being an independent and a woman.
Elizabeth Hanan's already left her mark on Dunedin. Her beautification program is probably best known for transforming dull, graffiti-filled walls into interesting art forms. She's been an independent city councillor for 3 years and is now on numerous community groups and chairman of the Museum Trust Board.
I don't believe that party politics have a place in local government. But I do think that people who are standing independently, who can think independently round the table, can be knitted together to work for this city. And I see my role as an independent person being able to achieve that.
Her priorities are offering business incentives to keep Dunedin economically humming along and to offer young people plenty to do in the city.
We've got a large number of contributing bodies coming in with us. And I see the mayor needs to be almost independent totally to be able to knit the groups together, to provide leadership and to provide some means where the council can actually work together as a group rather than split into factions.
Does being a woman make any difference?
I believe a woman provides a more caring role, and as well as that, I believe in communication, cooperation, participation of community groups, and community involvement. And that goes from the very minor things that happen in the community to quite major issues. I believe in an open government, and I've always supported communities coming in and speaking at a public forum and things like that.
After her next beautification project in George Street, Elizabeth Hanan will start campaigning to become Dunedin's first female mayor.
If you're reluctant to crack a smile because your teeth are a dingy colour, how would you like a mouthful of crockery? Porcelain teeth are the latest advance in cosmetic dentistry, and unlike caps, they don't involve having your old ones filed down to stumps. Marion Hazen reports.
As a young child, Grant Sutton was treated for bronchitis with a drug called tetracycline. The antibiotic was absorbed into his bloodstream and picked up by developing enamel in his adult teeth. It left them badly discoloured and Grant reluctant to smile for fear of nasty remarks. But now at age 27, he's getting rid of the grey grin with help from the latest development in cosmetic dentistry. Thin shells of handcrafted porcelain are being bonded to his own teeth. At between $300 and $400 per tooth, it's just over half the cost of crowns and eliminates grinding natural teeth down to stumps.
How long will these porcelain veneers last?
We have no real way of knowing that. The bonding, the glue and everything suggests many years.
The new veneers are glued on in much the same way as false fingernails, but sealed with a dose of high-speed heat. Days before, Grant's own teeth were roughened slightly for better grip to allow the new biters to be slipped on.
As they slide on, they have a neat little click feel. They are matching the grooves that are on the tooth.
That's the easy part. Before this stage, there was a small matter of building those new veneers. In a laboratory, technicians have spent hours creating them from impressions of Grant's teeth. Several coats of tinted porcelain were painted onto the moulds and fired at over 1,000 degrees. Individually, they're quite fragile, but toughen up once bonded to the teeth, though chomping through chop bones is not recommended. An hour or so after Grant climbed into the chair, the job's done. No more reluctant smiles, only big ones.
What do you think of these new teeth?
Fantastic. They're back to normal without any discoloration. Great improvement.
We'll be back tomorrow. Good night.